first things first, how many basketball fans do we have in the room? And congratulations to the Toronto Raptors for the NBA title. Yes.
Are we hot?
We were up watching the game last night, and I kept telling my husband, I'm like, can you turn the volume down? I need some sleep. But anyway, welcome to the Transformation Modernization Update. This is the final plenary session of the 2019 Ginnie Mae Summit. My name is Victoria Vargas, and I am the Director of Program Administration within the Office of Securities Operations, also known as OSO. On the panel today, I have many colleagues, but I want to tell you first that this plenary is a little bit different than the others. Yesterday and even this morning, many of the folks that were on the panels were, from the industry at large and agency partners. This panel today is all Ginnie Mae staff. And so it's slightly different. So I have the privilege of introducing my colleagues, which is kind of nice. So instead of reading bios, I decided I would do 3 facts about each of them and then a little fun fact that they're not aware of. So it's a bit of a surprise.
This is going to be on.
Okay. Oh, okay, sorry. I am a little short. Okay, so first, next to me here, I have Belinda Jackson. She is the Director of Process and Product Development within OSO. She has more than 20 years of experience in both the private and public sector. In her current role, Belinda is responsible for the portfolio management of Ginnie Mae's modernization transformation initiatives. So as you can imagine, she'll have a lot to say today. She holds a Bachelor of Arts in Economics from Hood College and a Master of Business Administration from Marymount University. So my little fun fact about Belinda is that she and I really, really like our Starbucks coffee. And in particular, I now know that she has a list of favorites in her app. And one of those is the caramel macchiato with almond milk. Okay, so moving on, Dan Bowling, Chief Technology Architect. Dan is an IT professional with over 30 years of experience in the technology field, which includes network operations, IT security, data center operations, telecommunications, and the list goes on. Dan is leading Ginnie Mae's data center consolidation efforts and several other technology initiatives that are underway. Let's see, Dan, I don't know how, oh, right here. He has a bachelor's degree, but you didn't tell me what school.
Strayer University.
Strayer University, graduate. And then my fun fact for Dan is Dan really is a family man. He and his wife have fostered several children over the years. So that's a little insight into Dan's world. Tamara Togans, next to Dan. She is our Vice President of Enterprise Data Management in the Office of the Enterprise Data Technology Solutions, also known as OEDTS for short. We do love our acronyms. What Tamara does for us is she manages a portfolio of projects designed to enhance our business intelligence, as well as our data governance, data quality, protection security, and some additional management activities. Tamara has her Bachelor of Science degree in mathematics from Virginia Tech. And I think this is my funnest fact. Tamara and I have a deep, deep love for bacon. Stuart Spettle, last but not least, on the far end. It's true, huh? I know. He is the Director of Operations from the Office of Securities Operations. So Stuart has more than 30 years of experience, again, in both the private and public sector. He is responsible for what we call running the railroad at Ginnie, which is truly the day-to-day activities associated with the issuance of our mortgage-backed securities, the monthly investor reporting, the payments to bondholders, and data disclosure. So Stuart has a big job, well, we all do, yes. But he holds a Bachelor of Education degree and an MBA with a concentration in finance. So my fun fact for Stuart is that I would consider Stuart a foodie. He just loves to have a great meal. And so I like to accompany him when he has those great meals. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and head towards the panel and we'll get started. Okay, I think you can still hear me, great. So I want to start with Belinda, and because each of them offers such a unique experience, they're going to have a very specific question to kind of share their insights, okay? So Belinda, let's start with you. Throughout the summit, there have been several references to the Ginnie Mae 2020 update. So tell us how that roadmap in this modernization journey and highlight some of the key objectives and those initiatives that are underpinning that multi-year strategic investment.
Okay. So I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with the Ginnie Mae 2020 document. By the way, it is available on our website for your perusal. But just to recap, the Ginnie Mae 2020 document touches upon strategic initiatives grouped into 3 pillars. Pillar 1 includes modernizing the MBS program and platform. Pillar 2 includes enhancing the management of counterparty risk. And Pillar 3 includes demonstrating the ability to innovate. So my focus is specifically on Pillar 1, modernizing the MBS program and platform under the umbrella of the Modernization and Transformation Program, working closely with my colleagues in data, infrastructure, and operations. I would be remiss if I don't take a moment to thank Dan, Tamara, and Stuart for all of their support thus far. With respect to your question, how is the roadmap guiding the modernization journey? Well, to be quite frank, it has upped the ante on the Modernization and Transformation Program. Specifically, we are laser focused on bringing to market My Ginnie Mae, the next generation portal. And I'm proud to say with the implementation of our last component, the Access Management Console, short, we call it AMC, and not the movie theaters, we are ready for prime time. So the Access Management Console provides a user-friendly interface for org admins to facilitate access for systems that reside within the Ginnie Mae ecosystem. It allows them to manage users and perform administrative tasks. We have also implemented the multifamily pool delivery module, and if you've been in other sessions, I'm sure you heard them mention this. The application offers a vastly improved user interface and user experience for pool submission. It has an issuer dashboard, it has import and export capabilities, and collaboration tools, to name a few. In the capital market space, we have implemented 2 new products on the Platinum application, the WAC arm and the HECM Platinum channel. Fun facts about the Platinum application: it was implemented in 2017. It was the first to be integrated into the My Ginnie Mae portal. It was the first to use the security features of the My Ginnie Mae portal, and it was actually the first application to utilize the newly implemented online transactional processing database, of course, that Data spearheaded. So with respect to the products, the WACM product and the HECM Platinum channel, both provide flexibility to the depositors, and they provide liquidity in their respective market. Additionally, we are upgrading ancillary tools to support these applications. From your perspective, we've upgraded business objects, which facilitates reporting. We've also upgraded Informatica, which facilitates system-to-system communication. So we've also done extensive research and analysis around ID proofing, which is the means to verify and authenticate the identity of customers. And we've done analysis on the conversion of the RSA token from hard to soft. Mm-hmm. Presently, we are actually poised, in conjunction with the data center migration, to implement these items. Lastly, in the legacy environment, we continue to implement enhancements to ensure that we remain in lockstep with the industry.
thank you. So, Dan, question for you. The infrastructure and technology landscape, as we know, is ever-changing, and organizations, vendors, customers are all trying to find innovative solutions. So what risks do you see with the emerging technologies and the new solutions that Ginnie Mae is adopting? And how are you actively addressing those risks as our chief technology architect?
Okay, so everybody keeps me in the back room because I'm the infrastructure guy, and they tell me I get too technical, so I was told to be on my best behavior today and not get too technical for everybody. So first, I think our job in technology infrastructure is really to provide a service to the business, not to drive the business, but we're here to support the business and the modernization efforts. Technology changes every day, and for us to stay on top of technology, there's a lot of things that we have to do in the back end. You know, modernize the infrastructure. We talk about modernization, and I've heard a lot today and throughout this seminar that there's a lot of people talking about modernization at FHA, modernization at VA, modernization within Ginnie Mae. Nobody ever worries about the modernization of the infrastructure that we have to do to try to keep up with that and to rapidly deploy these solutions that everybody comes up with. So they also don't talk about all the security requirements that we have to meet, and the new OMB circulars that come out, and the new binding operational directives that come out, and all the new NIST guidance that comes out every other month that we also have to manage as part of this modernization. So part of what we're doing on the inside to help this is we're consolidating the infrastructure. You know, the Federal Data Center Consolidation Initiative came out, then Cloud First came out, and then Cloud Strategy came out, and then Data Center Optimization came out. So we're well into our path to complete those efforts to align with the federal government. As part of that, we're supporting all of our operations teams and the new stuff going on in data and all of Belinda's modernization, providing path for cloud and in the future. Additionally, we're implementing enhanced internal and external security controls, infrastructure, trying to decrease our external exposure. We've got efforts in place today, and we're actively working to future modernize the infrastructure, increase our overall application availability, optimize our existing technologies, enhance all of our security controls. You know, all of this is underlying to mitigate some of that risk that you're trying to get to the bottom of. Second, in parallel, we work with the business, we're working with the development groups, we're working with our wonderful partners to provide a platform for the future, to provide that service, the infrastructure and technology, the path, the conduit, to contain and support the modernization of these applications. We're working and reviewing the use of robotics, process animation, process automation, repeatable processes, repeatable infrastructure for operational tasks. We're employing design thinking to deliver business solutions to improve the stakeholder and customer experiences. Some of the risks that we see with the newer technology are really centered on compliance. For us, for me, is compliance, security, supportability, and then compatibility with our existing systems. We have legacy applications that we have to ensure that we integrate with as we move into modernization. You know, we like to be on the bleeding edge of technology. You know, we've got a lot of wonderful users that read magazines and see what everybody in the cloud's doing and what Amazon can do, and they come back to us and say, well, why can't we do this? We can, we'll get there, but we have all of these other government regulations and requirements that we have to abide by. So we err on the side of caution when it comes to bleeding edge, and we make sure that we work with our partners, ensure that we have meet the compliance requirements and still support some of the leading edge technology. We are doing a lot of work now with our risk teams, vendor risk assessments, assessing the risk of our technology, of all of our applications, to ensure that we stay in compliance with all the federal regulations. We work with our internal and external solutions architects. We test new products. We're configuring a new lab within Ginnie Mae so we can test some of these, validate designs, test new security controls, ensure stability and supportability of our current products and then of new products. To ensure we're properly managing scalability, we do capacity planning, We have a lot more analysis and analytics we're getting from our providers now, so we can plan properly and move into the future. We're consolidating all of our internal control processes and procedures. We're consolidating all of our vendor support into a single pane of glass, so we can see what everybody's doing. We can track everything that's going on in the infrastructure and the supporting modernization.
Great. Sounds like a lot.
It is a lot.
We have a lot going on.
Yes.
But all of that is technology. Nobody really cares. Everybody wants to know, what are you doing that's going to affect us?
Right.
Well, we care when things don't work too.
Well, I hear a lot of that.
Yes.
I hear a lot of
When
that.
the system's down.
But how does it really affect the end user, the people who use the Ginnie Mae product? Most of it is internal. We affect the internal stakeholders. We heavily affect Belinda's group. We affect Stuart's group in operations.
Yep. Yeah.
What I can provide to the increasing data that Tamara keeps dumping on me every other day.
The gift that keeps on giving.
It is the gift that keeps on giving. And technology, well, everybody, we need more space, so there's takes time to give that space. The real effects are, where Belinda talked about, we're moving to soft token. We did issuer outreach, we did bulletins, we met with our users to move to hard token. We replaced the fingerprint reader with RSA and hard token.
Yep.
We'll do the same thing. We're replacing the hard tokens with soft token. I think everybody uses Amazon. Banks are soft token. Amazon uses soft token. I think everybody's out there using some form of validation to your cell phone now.
Yeah.
So we're moving in the same direction.
Okay, great. So that's something that folks can definitely expect, is that movement from that hard to that soft. So thank you, Dan. Tamara, question for you. And of course, this will be data related. So how has Ginnie Mae's need for data evolved, and what solutions are you providing that benefits Ginnie Mae as well as potentially the housing industry?
Okay. So first, let me start off by thanking Victoria for the bacon comment. Victoria and I are friends. She knows me very well, and there are a number of things she could have said to embarrass me in front of all of you today, and she didn't. So we'll stick with bacon. And since we're on that vein, I know many of you have heard that bacon is the new data. Bacon is the new data, or data is the new bacon, rather. See, I'm still on the bacon kick. But data is a new bacon, but data's always been the bacon. Data's always been the bacon. What we're trying to do and focus on is data by itself can't stand alone. I mean, there's nothing about data that's important if you don't have someone who's going to interact with it. And I heard Ed DeMarco say in one of the sessions yesterday that organizations, I'll paraphrase, organizations with rich data such as ours, rich data such as Ginnie Mae's, we should not hold that data so close to the chest. So we should be looking for opportunities to share that data. We talk about data within Ginnie Mae. We talk about it as an enterprise asset. We're always looking to manage data as an enterprise asset. But the truth of the matter is our data is a market asset. And so I believe that over the last several years, we've looked for ways to share that data and to provision it in a way that it can be of benefit to our partners and to the market. And one particular example is IOPP, that's the Issuer Operational Performance Profile Tool. The IOPP tool, if many of you already know it and you interact with it today, the IOPP tool is a tool that allows us to push data out to the issuers so that they can see how they fare in comparison to their peers from an operational and default performance perspective. And so we know that there's probably some work in our space to improve the IOPP tool, but it was a very good first stab at putting that information out so that the issuers can interact with that type of data. Another example is loan level disclosures. We heard folks talk about the richness and the integrity in the data set that we push out. We have a data disclosures work group that's led by Dan Kahn that works very hard to constantly look at opportunities as to how we can enhance that data set. That data set really helped us to up our brand. We're playing with the big dogs when we put that out there. And so that has been a great enhancement to our disclosures approach. We know that now what we're doing is we're looking at how we're collecting data, what data we're collecting today, looking at what we have and where we want to be, doing that gap analysis and determining how can we enhance our data collection efforts in a way that we can collect that data so that we can better enhance our policy as well as our programmatic requirements, but also in a way that we can push it back out to our investors so that they have even more rich data than what we push out today with respect to loan level disclosures. Over the past 2 to 3 years, and I know the question really lends to externally what are we doing in the market, but we have some efforts that are introspective, where we're looking at the enterprise-wide way of how we use data from an analytics perspective. And so one major effort that we have is what we're calling the Ginnie Mae Dashboard Suite. We're using data visualization technology to take our proprietary data, to merge it with other data that we can pull in from external sources and visualize that in a way so that the AEs, the single-family AEs and the multifamily AEs, probably for the first time, have a tool that allows them to get answers to questions that they didn't know that they had. And any time that a technologist, as myself, can do that, that's a big win for the organization. So we're following along in that vein, pushing out these dashboards so that folks have that data at their fingertips so they can be better decision makers and that they can be nimble in that decision making. Many of you have probably had some exposure, have heard about one particular dashboard in that suite, and that's the Disaster Relief and Response Dashboard. We posted a blog on ginniemay.gov, so I encourage you to go and check it out. In 2017, when we had the wave of hurricanes, Harlan Jones' brainchild was, well, we're doing all these things reactively. What can we do proactively so that we can do predictive analytics so that we can better help our issuers who are impacted by future disasters? And so this dashboard has been a very effective tool in managing those issuers and helping those issuers who find themselves in that situation. It's been said that analytics is when human interaction interacts with data. So I mentioned earlier that you have data. Data is the new bacon, but it's nothing unless someone can interact with that data. And so we're pushing forward at looking for analytical solutions that really look at how people want to interact with that data. As a technologist, I always look at it from the technology perspective. We're trying to flip the script and look at it from the human interaction perspective. Dan mentioned something that we're doing at Ginnie Mae called design thinking. It's called human-centered design, where you really think of problem solving from the human perspective. So we've launched an initiative to go out and interview our partners within Ginnie Mae to find out, hey, what are your pain points? When you're using these tools, what do you not like about them? What do you like about them? Let's talk about your processes. Let's map out those processes in a journey so that we can pinpoint those pain points and automate some of those manual steps that really drive you crazy on a day-to-day basis. That has been a very effective approach to solving our problems from an analytics perspective at Ginnie Mae. There has been great yield from those projects and those interactions. I may get in trouble for saying this, but I do believe that this effort has been very beneficial internally. I would love to see us partner with some issuers and talk to you about some of your pain points and then do some problem solving on our end based upon how you interact with our data on your end. So I think that there's a lot of opportunity there for us to flip the script in terms of how we're doing our problem solving. Belinda mentioned the Ginnie Mae 2020 plan. It may not be readily apparent when you look at many of those efforts, whether they be policy or programmatic or application development efforts. Data is all over the Ginnie Mae 2020 plan. You can't do any of those things. You can't affect policy. You can't build anything unless you have accurate data of good integrity. And so we have made some foundational investments with respect to our data architecture. Belinda mentioned the OLTP project, where we're building out a data architecture that fundamentally has requirements employed so that we can support these future efforts. For instance, the single family PDM effort that Belinda is leading now, our team has built out a data architecture that is MISMO influenced, so that when the single family pool delivery module is launched, we already have that data architecture in place, that data landscape in place that supports those MISMO compliant requirements. There's also a lot of talk about how do we get to a point where now we're managing a program that's entirely pool oriented. How do we transact at the loan level? What can we do to support those requirements? Well, this data architecture that we're employing has those types of features so that we can decomponentize the pools so that we can transact at the loan level. So all of these things, whether they be externally facing or internally facing, the one major takeaway that I would have you take today is that we're doing this so that we can be a benefit to our partners in the industry, whether it be our issuers, our document custodians, those who invest in our securities, or those in the greater market who have to coexist with us in the secondary mortgage market.
Thank you, Tara. And those dashboards are really helpful. Yes, I would agree. Stuart, I'd like to, yesterday we heard Marin and Dr. Carson refer to Ginnie Mae's phenomenal growth, and it's true. I mean, it's been kind of crazy, over the $2 trillion, et cetera. So you, as the Director of Operations, what are you focused on given that exponential growth that we've experienced?
Sure. So perhaps to provide some perspective, today, every month we collect and reconcile data on more than 586,000 individual loans, pools or loan packages, and about 11.3 million loans. On the reverse mortgage side, the HMBS side, the book is $54 billion. We collect data on more than 9,000 pools and something like 11.7 million participations. In respect to investor data disclosure, it's been mentioned we disclose new originations at the pool and loan level daily and more than 244,000 QSIPs and all of the loans monthly. So from an ops perspective, the velocity and the amount of data and the number of files processed, it's significant. Except for the daily disclosure, this mostly happens within the first 6 business days of each month. So I would like to take a moment to thank our issuers and your service providers for reporting timely and accurately, because that helps make this all happen.
Okay, so that was a lot of great stats, but what are you really focused on in the operations space?
Sure. I'm focused on 4 things for the next couple of years. One is working with the technical and infrastructure teams to ensure that our requirements are met and that the voice of the business is heard. 2, ensure that we develop test plans and claim adequate time on the schedule to ensure that everything is working properly before we roll it out. For example, today, all of Ginnie Mae and some pilot multifamily issuers have been test driving the My Ginnie Mae portal for several months, and will continue to do so before we roll it out more broadly. Number 3, we'll be working with the customer adoption team on a strategy to ensure that we can support the transition to new applications as we roll them out to you. And finally, number 4, a proof of concept for a centralized help desk to better support issuers and document custodians, other stakeholders after we roll this stuff out.
Great, thanks. So I know there were some sessions yesterday, one that was like on My Ginnie Mae for the onboarding, and then there was another that Ankel talked about, digital collateral. And so my question's going to come back to you, Belinda. Knowing that we've discussed some of these things, what are those modernization capabilities that Ginnie Mae intends to deliver in the near future? And what should we expect to see from these improvements?
So in the next 12 to 18 months, Ginnie Mae will focus on bringing 5 things to market. Just to set the context, today, all pool issuance starts in GinnieNet. In the future, all pool issuance will start in the pool delivery modules, or what we call the PDMs. So for the multifamily folks in the crowd, I don't know if there's anyone out there, the application is in production. We have pilot issuers on there who are currently conducting business. The next step is getting it to all of the multifamily issuers. Now, with respect to the single-family pool delivery module, we've actually made some significant progress. It's currently being tested internally. Our hope is to open it up to pilot issuers for testing by August of this year. The goal is implementation to pilot issuers the end of this year. So that's pretty aggressive from our perspective. But for the issuers, the single-family pool delivery module will deliver an vastly improved user experience. It will have new UIs. It will have a customized issuer dashboard. You'll be able to view the progression of your pool submission. It has enhanced search and sort capabilities. You can add one or more loans without processing the entire submission. You can delete a pool or recall a pool. It has type hit processing enhancements, and last but not least, it will be MISMO compliant. So with respect to the other modules that reside on GinnieNet, we will begin phase 1 of the modernization for the HECM pool delivery module and for the document custodian module, with the goal of completion by December of 2020. Basically what we're doing is we're pulling it off of GinnieNet, and we're going to put them onto my Ginnie Mae. Once that's done and these applications are fully functional and being utilized, we will decommission GinnieNet. Separately, we will begin the process of training and onboarding our issuers onto my Ginnie Mae. So what that means is we can finally answer the question that was poised, I think that was at the last summit, about consolidating our numerous points of entry. My Ginnie Mae will be the single gateway to all Ginnie Mae systems, applications, and resources. My Ginnie Mae will be the way you access everything within the Ginnie Mae ecosystem. My Ginnie Mae also provides a consistent user experience. It has enhanced collaboration tools, and this is where you will leverage our security features or the multi-factor authentication. And lastly, of course, it facilitates ease of access. In tandem with the data center migration currently underway, we will implement ID proofing. We will migrate from the physical to soft tokens and continue enhancing my Ginnie Mae, RFS, web services, GinnieNet, and GMAP. Of course, we'll upgrade the policies, procedures, and processes that support these initiatives. So in sum, what does this mean for you, the issuers? Well, the improvements deliver a improved user interface, a vastly enhanced user experience, new collaboration tools, improved protections to counter fraud, improved or new security features, greater accessibility, self-service capabilities, revamped functional roles, a knowledge management center, MISMO compliant format, and other functionalities that are too numerous to mention.
Thanks, Belinda. So as we're approaching the hour, I just wanted to make a few closing comments, I think. And one is that it's obvious our agenda is full. We have many initiatives underway. I often say we got a lot of irons in the fire happening at Ginnie Mae at the moment. Collaboration, I know we talked about this yesterday, it is essential. At the end of the day, Ginnie Mae is still a relatively small organization. And so while we have, our leaders here at the table and some of the leadership out there, we do have a lot of support. And so I really believe that Ginnie Mae's success stems from, 1, having a great leadership team, 2, the commitment of the Ginnie Mae employees, and then I would be remiss if I didn't mention the excellent vendor support that Ginnie Mae has. We really view our vendor support as an extension of the Ginnie Mae team. Without them, we could not run the program. So what I'd like to do real quick is just to take a moment to acknowledge those 3 groups that I just mentioned. So Ginnie Mae leadership that's out there, can you please stand for a moment? And Ginnie Mae employees, all Ginnie Mae employees, can you just please stand? And then I would also like our vendors, our extended team, Any of you that provide vendor support to Ginnie Mae, please stand. I just want you to know that while we are small, without the support of all these people that are out there right now, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So could I just have a round of applause for them? Thank you. Thank you. So thank you for spending your Friday morning with us. I hope you all have safe travels. And I believe Marin's going to join us here real quick.
That really interesting information. I don't know, am I? Yes. You know, I think we are wrapping up our day-and-a-half session, and I truly want to thank everyone for joining us. We hope that the agenda was valuable to you, but I think really importantly, we hope that we were able to communicate how much progress we have made in the past few years, but also all of the work that lies ahead. And I think that was a great exercise to have everyone stand, because you can see our partners are vast and wide, and we really appreciate the partnership from everybody who has traveled around the world. We thank you so much for coming and continuing to support the Ginnie Mae program. And to issuers here, we hope to continue to be your business partners. We think that's important. And to the extent that you have any follow-up or any questions or any comments that you want to give on any of the information that was presented here throughout the past day and a half, please reach out. I can always make myself available, as can the rest of the Ginnie Mae team. So with that, I thank you very much for being here over the last day and a half, and we look forward to doing it again next year. Thank you.